Welcome to my podcast on Affinity Photo. And my purpose of doing this is to understand blend options in Affinity Photo and let you know what they are all about, what the graphs mean, and how to interpret and use the graphs to blend layers. And how to blend layers will be to blend an image of clouds into an image that needs or doesn't have clouds. It would have a bland sky. And so what we mean by that is this. We will go from an underlying image here, which is of course a blank sky you see above the church. And now what we're trying to do is to have these clouds be inserted into the blend, in a blended mode in the previous one below that. So what we want to get, we don't want obviously we don't want the cows in there. So what we want to do is eventually have this particular scene. And to do this, we have to first say that what you must do is make sure that the sky is, in this case, the sky is fairly even in either color or in exposure or both. That would be preferable. In addition, the photographic requirements of the selected image of clouds should reflect the white balance of the scene itself. You wouldn't want sunset clouds in an image that has noontime sun. Okay, the focal lengths of both images should be about the same, not exactly, but about the same, and the direction, light direction, should be the same. The elevation of the landscape and the clouds should be about the same. You don't want to take a picture of clouds overhead in a landscape that is near the horizon. Okay, with that out of the way, and by the way, all those caveats would, you can still use the blending modes, but it will just look kind of funny. In any case, if you look at these on the right hand side in the layers, I've already labeled the layers, the clouds being the top layer, clouds, and the bottom layer, which is cloudless. Okay, just so we can keep track of them. Now, there's the image of layers, and the main thing here is to make sure that the clouds have the right composition. Now, the right composition of the clouds. So how do we do that? We just pick the opacity layer here on the right hand side and go, let's say about 75%. Now remember the 75% and how this thing looks, because you can see the underlying layer is, it shows through because we only have 75% opacity on the top layer. And so what we can do here is to move the clouds around to make sure that the cows aren't on top of the sky and the clouds are nicely positioned. Here I can transform it if you want, put it higher and wider, and of course it'll depend upon your own image. I'm going to select this right for now, and hopefully we can figure this out, and if that was the right composition. But until then, we're going to take the 75% and move it to 100%. Now, with my cursor on the right hand side, you'll notice that there is a gear icon here. And it's hard to see, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you a gear icon, what it looks like, and that's where it is. Because blend modes are not well documented in Affinity Photo. This one isn't even labeled. There is nothing in the menu system, so that's why I wanted you to know exactly where it was. And what does this get you? Well, here it is, the blend options menu. As you see, the first reaction is, what is this all about? I'm not going to talk about blend gammas, coverage match, and master. I just want to talk about these source layer images, or ranges as they call them, and the underlying composition ranges. This is the top layer that we have, and the underlying composition will be the bottom layer. What we want to understand is for the graph 1 or the top layer, the source layer ranges, and what does this x-axis, the up and down axis, refer to? And what does it mean? And what does the x-axis, the horizontal axis, refer to? We will see that when you go to graph 2, things are really different. And so that's what the main point of this whole thing is. I want to make sure that you understand what these things are. So this is what it means for the top layer. The opacity is 100%. That's why everything, including the cows, all the way to the whites, which is the clouds, is in there. The blacks and all the whites. If this area came down, the opacity would go towards 0, and we'll just pretty well show that. Now, the first thing to do, however, is to let you see what this opacity means. And the thing to do is to say, okay, let's take the 75% again level of opacity in these layers. And what we see here is this is how it looks. Okay? Okay, so you can see this. Remember what this is about. We'll push it down to 100%. We'll press the gear icon. Okay, and now we'll push these things. As soon as you press it, it goes to a blank circle. We push this about 75% and push that 75%. As you can see, the opacities are about the same, so it means 75%. However, you don't have to have an even distribution of blacks and whites. You can make these whites brighter. You see the clouds go brighter, or the blacks lighter. Excuse me, let me say that again. The clouds will have more opacity and they'll be whiter, and the cows will have less opacity and they will be less black, not 0. In any case, you have this flexibility, and I think that is one of the main beauties of this particular blend options as implemented by Affinity Photo. Okay, we're now at the previous slide saying the top level opacity is 100%, and the opacity here on the bottom is, on the vertical side, is 0%. So what we're going to do is take a look at Affinity Photo's documentation, which is under their blend ranges, even though this is called blend options. Notice the pixels on the selected layer are less visible. When you press this line here and it goes downward, the pixels become less visible to have less opacity as it moves downward. However, the underlying composition range, the range we have is the bottom layer, and that is the layer that that is of the cloudless sky. The pixels on underlying layer are more visible as nodes are moved downwards. On the left graph, when you push the nodes downward, it goes less. As you go on the right one, or the bottom layer, if you press on any one of these items on this line, and you move it downward, move the nodes downward, the underlying pixels get more. This is one of the main sources of confusion that needs to be changed, and at the end I will show, at least Affinity Photo, a reasonable visualization that they can use to make and correct this. Okay, so what again is happening here is that we have on the bottom layer, on the left is black, and on the area on the right is white. You'll see pretty soon what we mean by this. But what's strange about this, again, here it is, top layer. Opacity is 100% here, 0 here. But the bottom layer, this is 0% here, and 100% here. This is crazy. The top layer is 100% on one side, and the bottom layer, which is this, over here, is 0%. This is not very good and should be corrected, but until it does, I'll show you how to work it. Okay, now we're here back to our layered top and bottom layers, and we're going to blend this thing. Remember, we wanted the cows to be a lot less black, so we're blending it out. Here it goes, blend out, and you can see the clouds. I mean, excuse me, the cows. However, this time, concentrate on the clouds and see what happens there. As you can see, the clouds get a little less bright. And the reason for that is that here's the brightest part of the cloud, and then there's 90, 80, 70, and even 60%. And they get dumbed down, they get blended out. So what you need is one second is not enough. So what you do is you just click along the line someplace around here. So it's a blank 0, and then you move it up. Take a look at the clouds now. Take a look at the clouds, and they're now brighter. And then you have to use my eye to see where is the best place to put this. And you're trying to have the clouds that are over here be bright, but not over here. And so I'm going to put them about right here. That's my best thing. Same with the cows. You want this item, which happens to be a midtone, to be less. So you click here and make the midtone much less, so that you will not have any of the midtones of where the cows are standing. And now that you blend it out as much as you can, it can't do everything. You have to now blend in with the underlying compositional ranges, knowing that everything is opposite. Now, in the cloudless skies are totally blocked out. You don't see them, do you? Well, of course, if you move it down, you'll see them, and this is what exactly you didn't want. You see the blue sky? Well, that's because you blended in the underlying sky blue sky. So you want it to keep it at 0, and then you bring down, and you want to put all the midtones in the darks. You see the church king there? Okay. Okay. So the same thing applies. You have to get rid of this particular cow. So what you do is you push the black, and you make the church midtones come out. You move it to the right until it comes out. Okay? And the same with the sky. You can make it so that the underlying composition ranges are blended back out. If you don't, they're going to be more blue, but if you put them out, they will be bright. And how far do you go? Well, you can just keep on pushing it. You see things like this on the left-hand side are coming out. So it's a matter of just seeing and taking a look at what's happening to get the best blend for both ways. And at this point, you're done. Okay, now we're at the end. However, I'd like to show you that there are places where even in this intricate area here, the clouds show through. And let me show you that by just moving the clouds itself, cloud layer. And you see it's blue, and now it's white, part of the white clouds. That's the good part of this. The bad part is, look at these items here, which happen to be the reflections. And as you can see, they go from white to blue. So there is a way to do this by masking the mask, and I'll tell you about that more next time. So to finally conclude this area, I wanted to make sure that I give the Affinity photo team an idea of how to change this rather odd thing about the 100% opacity being here on the left and 0 on the right. By now they've probably figured this out, but the change is just to erase this line here at the very top and put it on the bottom. So the only way you can go is going to the top. Hence the opacity would be 0, and of course the clouds, the lack of clouds in the blue sky in the bottom layer would be 0 opacity. You wouldn't see them, and you don't want to see them. And same with but midtones here you want to push up. So you want to blend those in to 100% or so opacity. Okay, so the main thing here is on the left, the top layer, the source layer, you would blend out. The bottom layer you would blend in. Hopefully you'll take these suggestions, Affinity Photo team, and have a good time making the changes. So thank you very much for listening, and I would appreciate comments, as this is my first YouTube video for training. Thank you very much. Wai Chong.